Hey, what's up guys, TechTine here and I'm back again with a brand new video. Before I begin, I want to thank you all so much for watching. If you do enjoy my content, make sure you leave a thumbs up. Also consider subscribing if you haven't already. But with that being said, today I'm going to be reviewing the T-Mobile Revvl 8. And I've been using this phone for 48 hours, so think of this as sort of my 48-hour review. And obviously a couple of things that I want to speak on when it comes to this phone. The first thing is, which is the obvious, is this brand new sort of redesign. And honestly, it kind of reminds me of a Pixel device. Doesn't it give you this sort of a Pixel vibe? But yeah, this is exclusive only to T-Mobile and Metro by T-Mobile. So if you don't have these carriers, then the first thing is first, this phone is automatically not for you. But as far as design goes, one of the first things that I noticed is this sort of two-tone coloring, which kind of looks weird and kind of looks off-putting, but it's right where the camera lenses sit. And the back does have this sort of matte finish to it that feels soft, and it is very slippery, so I do recommend the case on it. On the right hand side, you do have your colored power button / fingerprint sensor that matches the company's logo, plus you also have your volume up and down. And these buttons are made out of plastic. They're okay, they're not the most tactile buttons, but they work fine. And you still retain a headphone jack in 2025, which you see a lot of these manufacturers slowly getting rid of it for good. You also get a 25-watt USB-C charging port, as well as your bottom-facing speaker and a microphone. The entirety of this construction of this phone is made out of plastic, and again, that is to keep the price point at a minimum. So it starts at $199 if you want to buy it outright, but T-Mobile and Metro by T-Mobile do have some offers where you can get it at a heavily discounted rate. But in my opinion, I think that this design is not too bad. I actually like it. And also, I have to give props to T-Mobile for giving us sort of a almost flat camera design. So this phone will sit flat on a flat surface, and that's something that we haven't really seen in a lot of manufacturers. So that's something also to give props to and to shout out. In addition to that, you also get a 6.6-inch display. It is a 1080p display that does have an IPS LCD panel. It reaches up to 800 nits of peak brightness according to the spec sheet that I've read. But honestly, this is not a bad of a display considering the price point that comes with this device. There should be a 8 Pro version that's going to be coming out soon, but no details on that. If it's anything like last year, we should be getting an AMOLED display instead of this IPS panel. But all in all, it gets decently bright. It's not the brightest display, obviously, in a world where you get 1800 nits, 2000 nits, 3000 nits. This is just not one of those phones, and that's fine. Now, I do have to also mention that the bezels on this device are slightly on the larger side, so if that bothers you, then this phone is not for you. But to be honest with you, for the price, I'm willing to live with sort of larger bezels, but I still get a 1080p panel that does support up to 120 Hz of high refresh rate. Unlike a company like Motorola, where they give us the Moto G for the same price, but only cap us at 720p. So that's sort of your comparison there. Overall though, display, not too bad. Now, if we switch the conversation and talk about the camera system, you only basically get your main camera, which is a 15 megapixel camera that supports optical image stabilization. You get a macro camera, but let's be real, that's just there for show at the end of the day. In a phone at this price point and a camera at this quality, it's a gimmick. So keep that in mind. Now, the camera interface itself is simple, straight to the point. It's basically point and shoot, and that's how I like it. And you can navigate between your photo, your video, your night mode, your portrait really quickly. And this phone does have support for 2K resolution video recording, so not quite high resolution 4K, but again, not the end of the world considering the price point. And for the pictures that I've took with this phone while using it the past 2 days, I can tell you this, in sort of, especially in the environment that I was in, it was kind of cloudy, but in this sort of cloudy environment, it takes some okay pictures. They're a little bit noisy and they're not the best quality, especially when you transition to lower light, and it can be overexposed at times and blurry at other times. But because of the lighting environment, to be honest, I can't judge it too harshly. If you want to see a full dedicated camera review, let me know. I'll make it happen for sure. Now, moving on to the performance of the T-Mobile Revvl 8, then here are the couple of things that I want to mention in that regard. So the Revvl 8 does have a 6 gigabytes of RAM, 128 gigabyte of storage, and you get a 5000 milliamp hour battery with 25 watt of fast charging. And as far as your chipset goes, you do get the Qualcomm Snapdragon 6 Gen 3 processor. And it's supposed to help with AI features, but to be honest, I'm not really, I'm looking at performance as far as speed and things like that. And when it comes to your daily tasks, it's been consistent, but then again, it's only been 2 days, so you cannot really make a definitive conclusion. But it matches the same spec sheet as phones with this price point. If we want to look at synthetic benchmark, you get 824 for your single core and 2746 for your multi-core. Again, matching the price point of phones that are comparable to the Revvl 8. Now, in my personal usage, the amount that I've used it for and the gaming that I did, scrolling through social media, browsing the web, reading articles, and just playing light titles of games, then this phone functioned very well for the most part. I didn't really experience too much hiccups or too much slowdowns, and that's something that I do have to note. Now, as far as consistency and quality, that's only time will tell, to be honest with you. So the more that I will use this phone and the longer that this phone has been out for, the better I can give you sort of a definitive conclusion on the actual performance and the slowdowns that will have. I do have to say, at one point in time, it did sort of crash the YouTube app. I don't know why, but it happened on multiple occasions. So that's something that I gotta note. But all that can easily be fixed with a software update to sort of take care of these small glitches. But all in all, though, as far as experience, it was not bad. It was just what I expected from a phone at this price point. And also, I do want to mention that it didn't really heat up, or I didn't really experience any discomfort as far as thermal throttling. So there's that for you. Now, if I were to sort of end this kind of 48-hour review in a conclusion, then I can say this. This phone is definitely not for everyone. First of all, you do have to be a T-Mobile or a Metro by T-Mobile customer, but you also have to think about the other options that you can get for this price point. You have the Galaxy A16, you have the Moto G5G, and you have other manufacturers basically providing us with the same quality, if not better quality phones for the same sort of price rate. So keep that in mind, and I would also love to hear your guys' thoughts about the T-Mobile Revvl 8. Do you think that it's going to be worth it for you or not? Leave your leave your thoughts in the comments below, and I want to thank you all so much for watching. I do appreciate you all so much for staying tuned, and be sure to subscribe if you haven't. I will catch you guys in the next one. Thank you for watching.